Hi golfers, Rob Cheney here from GOLFTEC Singapore. Today's lesson is going to focus on course strategy or course management and how you can understand your own individual shot pattern better to help you make better decisions on the golf course. So before we can get into really discussing your shot pattern and how you can use it, we need to find out what it is. So to do that, I'm just going to hit 10 7-irons inside the bay here. And we're going to look at the scatter pattern and the dispersion of those 10 shots. Okay, so let's just take a second to discuss and understand a little bit more about shot patterns and what they are. A shot pattern is really just a pattern of outcomes across a period of shots, a period of time of you hitting different shots. So ultimately, the outcome of your 7-iron swing over a period of time will have a dispersion to it that might be somewhat similar to the picture on the screen. It looks very random. But it has a pattern and it has more consistency to it than you might realize. This particular shot pattern that you're looking at is 200 8-iron swings hit by a scratch golfer. What that might begin to tell you is that even the best players are not super accurate all the time. They don't hit the ball perfectly straight, they don't hit the ball perfect distance, and they have to manage that outcome and that variability in their outcome to be able to play golf to a good level. You also have a pattern like this. It's maybe a bigger pattern, it may be smaller, but it is a pattern nonetheless. If you can learn to understand it, you can learn to make better decisions on the golf course. So if we take this example here of 10 shots hit to a green where the target was the center of the green marked by the X. Have a quick look at that. I'm going to give you 5 seconds on your own. Which are the best 8 shots out of the 10 that were hit there? Did you pick these ones? Was this where you drew your imaginary circle in your mind around these 8 shots here? I know a lot of people do, but would you look at that and say they're the most consistent 8 shots? What about now? If we remove the outline of the green and take away the target, without that, do you pick a different 8 dots in this example? So take another look at that diagram and tell me if you would change the 8 shots that you think are the most consistent in that diagram. So now I think without the outline there to distract you of the green, you probably pick the 8 shots that are now circled together. And if we reintroduce the green outline and the target, you can now see what that shot pattern looks like. So now we've drawn the green back in and kept the circle around the 8 most consistent shots. You can see that the shot pattern in this example tends to have a short and right nature to it relative to the target. So these balls are coming up slightly short of the intended target and slightly to the right. But if we pick that shot pattern up and move it, which we'll talk about in just a second, which will be subject to a different philosophy in where we aim the original shot, you can see that we can keep the same shot pattern and yet we can get an outcome that is far more desirable for us in terms of where the ball finishes. What we did to achieve that was shifted the golfer's aim to, let's say, 10 yards left of the target and half a club more than they would have originally hit. And what happens in this example is that the consistency of a golfer and their general pattern is rewarded rather than their stubbornness to try and hit the perfect shot all of the time be punished. So we'll take that understanding of shot patterns and take a look at the 10 shots that I hit, and you'll see there's a very clear pattern to my shots and my 7-iron. So struck the ball pretty well on all of those, hit the ball nice and solid, but my shape very much was an overdraw, a ball that curved too much from right to left and finished, as you can see, left of my intended target quite consistently. In fact, there was only one shot out of the 10 that finished to the right of the intended target. So this shot pattern with my 7-iron, as I say, is fairly typical of what I would do. So having knowledge of this can help me to make better decisions on the golf course. And if you understand your shot pattern better, you can also make better decisions rather than simply always feeling like you have to hit the perfect shot. Now we know a little bit more about shot patterns, and specifically my shot pattern for those last 10 balls. As I said, it's pretty typical of my general shape, my general miss. So I'm already more or less aware of that. But let's take that information now, go out onto the golf course, set up a real life scenario, and see how that information, that knowledge that I have of my shot pattern would influence my decision making when I'm on the golf course. So I've set up this par 3 hole here on the GC quad, and this is a great example of how I can use my shot pattern and my understanding of my shot pattern to make the best decision possible to give me the best chance of shooting the lowest score. So this hole sets up in such a way that on this particular occasion the flag is cut in the back left portion of the green. Now that may seem like a great opportunity for me because of my general tendency to shape the ball from right to left and draw it towards the target. And it is, providing the fact that I understand and accept what I'm likely to do and pick an appropriate target. So very often taking dead aim at this flag, which would be maybe the strategy of somebody who does draw the golf ball, would actually be a mistake, because going by my tendency and my shot pattern, my bad one from aiming straight at the flag here would be to miss to the left. If I was to do that, that would actually give me the least amount of green to work with in terms of getting the ball up and down, which would make it very unlikely or less likely that I would be able to save my par if I was to miss the green to the left. And additionally, in this example, further left I hit the ball, the further I've got to hit it, because I've got to carry the water. So a much better strategy here for me would be to take a look at this big fat portion of the green on the right, maybe aim slightly right of center of the green, knowing that if I hit a straight shot, I'm going to be in great shape. I'm going to be in the middle of the green, a couple of putts, make par, get out of there. If I do happen to turn the ball from right to left a bit more than I want to, it's only going to be getting closer to the flag, and I'm going to give myself a great opportunity to potentially make birdie, and if not, par still becomes a very simple score. And then on the rare occasion when I actually hit my ball to the right of my shot pattern, of my aim spot, I'm either going to be facing a long putt, which isn't straightforward, but also is better than having a very difficult chip. If I was right of that, I'd only be on the fringe or just off the green on the right, and that would leave me the most straightforward chip up the length of the green, giving me again a better opportunity to save my par than if I missed it on the short side. So having that knowledge has allowed me here to make a decision that's very specific to me. I'm going to take aim at the center or just to the right of center of the green and see what happens. Well, that certainly worked out about as well as could have been expected. Although, having said that, I did plan for it. I made a decision based on my tendencies and my shot pattern. I know that when I'm hitting the ball a little harder than maybe I would do normally for this club, that yardage was a little bit more than a standard 7-iron for me. I also know that I'm more prone to the overdraw or tending to draw the ball a bit more. So I was able to aim into a very safe spot, a very conservative spot to the right there, knowing that if I did overdraw the ball, I'd be okay. And that knowledge allowed me to be calm over the shot. It allowed me to make my regular swing, knowing that the outcome was more likely to be okay no matter what happened. And a big part of understanding your shot pattern is getting you to a place where you can make swings on the golf course where you're confident, committed, and very clear in terms of what you're trying to do. I'm not saying that will always be the outcome if you follow your shot pattern, but I do think you're more likely to have better results over a long period of time. So next time you're practicing, take 10 balls with any of your clubs and note the scatter pattern. One of the biggest benefits to practicing at GOLFTEC is using the technology we have here to be able to track those patterns far more accurately than you could do if you were just watching the ball on the driving range. So next time you're in practicing, have a go, take your shot pattern, study it, understand it, then take it out on the course and let me know how you get on.